It's the Mistook over Swan Emergency Broadcasting System, episode 15. We're still on a road trip, and we're going to Oklahoma. Hang on to your hats. Hey everybody, it is episode 15. By my calculation, that's 105 days since episode 1. That is a lot of shut-in. That is a lot of hanging around, wearing masks. That's a lot of worry. But hopefully, we're giving you a little bit of something to distract you from all that. And, keep you informed, keep you entertained, keep you amused. Most of all, keep you out of jail. Stay out of jail. In fact, as far as I know, no one has gone to jail, so thank you very much. Mission accomplished. No ankle bracelets that I'm aware of, so everybody is getting in just the right amount of trouble. So, it is National Simplicity Day. What is that, you ask? It has to do with something about, when Henry David Thoreau wrote Walden, and a bunch of people thought, well, that's a great idea. We need to simplify our lives. Not a bad idea. It wouldn't be a bad idea to simplify our lives a little bit, and, maybe take a walk in the woods. We can't all just go live in the frickin' pond like Henry David there, but it turns out, I think, where he lived was it's basically in Emerson's backyard. It's not like he was 20 miles into the wilderness. He could come in for milk and stuff like that. But anyway, yes, so let's simplify our lives a little bit, and that will make our moral choices much clearer, and we'll be able to figure out what the hell the universe is trying to tell us with all this nonsense. You know whose birthday it is? This is cool. It's Pierre Berton's birthday, right? Died in 2004. He lived to be 84, I think. A national icon, a historian, a newspaper man, a radio man, a TV man. He was everywhere. I remember when I was a kid, you used to think he was a bit of a fuddy-duddy. But you had to read his books in high school and stuff, his history books, which actually, in retrospect, were pretty fucking good. He really loved his topic. So, go back and read them. Check it out now, now that you're all grown up and, you don't have an assignment in the morning and like that shit. Because that's what ruined it for us, is that we had a fucking assignment in the morning and the dog ate the homework and So, yeah. Anyway, so my favorite thing about Pierre is in 2004, just really months before he died, he did this interview with Rick Mercer where he explained how to properly roll a joint. And he's sitting there, and there's this young dude next to him, and he says, "Many young people have asked me over the years, what is the correct way to roll a joint?" And he looks at the guy and he goes, "Not like that. Take that apart and start over." I'm gonna put the link. Okay, I'm gonna put the link to this. So yeah, click on this in a new tab. Come back here after you watch it. Okay, but are you ready? Here, I'm gonna put it here. You should watch this. It's the greatest. All right. So Colleen and I have been busy as bees. We got Colleen set up the Facebook site. It's facebook.com/HMHFAS, or you can just look us up by Mistook for a Swan. I'm going to pester you like that through the Facebooky world. I've got us all set up on Bandcamp. We are getting ready, believe it or not, to release our album. We're going to release our album in August. We're just getting our ducks in a row. And believe me, up here in Haliburton, you literally have to get your ducks in a row. Yes, so busy as bees. Get those bees out of here. Anyway, last week we were in Texas, right? We were talking about the folk scene there. We're talking about Towns Van Zandt. Lots of cool stuff in Texas. I figured since we were in Texas, maybe we should just take a little trip up to Oklahoma, because there's actually a lot of cool stuff going up there. But before we go to Oklahoma, let me tell you, there is some new music out from Willie. Willie, the icon of Texas music. All right. So, you're asking yourself, oh, Willie's done like everything. He's done like the Julio Iglesias and the old Torch songs and everything. You're wondering, is this like Willie's, is he finally doing his thrash metal album? No. Is he finally doing his techno album? Like, are all the German Hausfraus gonna get their glow sticks and go out and dance techno all night to Willie? No, they're not. It's just plain old Willie doing what Willie does, and nobody does Willie like Willie. It's just so easy, and he makes it sound easy and smooth and just relaxing. I think it fits into our Simplicity Day theme, and it also fits into our Smoking a Coner theme, definitely. Yeah, check out the new Willie album. It's called The First Rose of Spring. Yeah. So the reason we might want to go up to Oklahoma, many reasons, but it's nearby for a start. I mean, but everything's big down there. Everything is fucking big down there. So like, you look at the map and you think it's close, and you're driving there for 27 hours, and you're going, "Aren't we there yet? I need to pee." But no. Anyway, so one of the people that we admire in He Mistook Her for Swan, and that we do at least one of his songs, is Hoyt Axton. Hoyt Axton, born in Oklahoma, was it Duncan, Oklahoma? Grew up in Comanche, I think. I love these names, right? So he was part of the 60s folk scene. He was a singer-songwriter. He wrote a bunch of tunes. He wrote that song "Greenback Dollar," which we're trying to work up in our new band with Frank Nevada and Tony Benatar. So keep your eyes peeled for that, for God's sakes. Yeah, I guess the Kingston Trio did it and had a big hit with it, but somehow poor old Hoyt got ripped off because he didn't know what the hell he was doing. But anyway, in the early 60s, Hoyt was all over the place doing folk stuff, West Coast folk stuff, which is something we haven't really talked about. But there was a Texas scene, there was of course, a California folk scene. Hoyt was part of that, and he wrote a whole bunch of really interesting, dark songs, Thunder and Lightning, Voodoo Blues, which is a song we do in He Mistook Her for a Swan, which is a beautiful but heavy song. And, kind of in the later 60s, poor old Hoyt, he developed a bit of a cocaine habit, which takes us back to our previous episode. Townes Van Zandt really admired Hoyt's guitar playing, and he learned the song "Cocaine" from Hoyt. Hoyt claims that it was came from World War I era. Actually, it's older than that. Hoyt's wrong, but there you go. I'm not going to call him on it. He's dead. So anyway, later on in life, Hoyt, he got his shit together in the late 60s and did a bunch more albums. He ended up opening up for that band Three Dog Night, and he wrote a bunch of songs for him, including Joy to the World, believe it or not, and Never Been to Spain. Made a frickin' fortune. So, and then he did a bunch of other songs. You can't really talk about Hoyt. I'm sorry, little distraction here. You shouldn't talk about Hoyt without talking a little about his mom, Mae Boren Axton. She co-wrote Heartbreak Hotel, believe it or not. And it's not like she was a one-hit wonder. She was a fucking powerhouse writer and just a ball of energy and really a powerful woman in that kind of country music scene in the early 50s. She wrote over 200 songs. Patsy Cline did one of her songs. Wanda Jackson did one of her songs. Heartbreak Hotel, sure, that's a biggie. And she could buy a couple Cadillacs with that one. She's the one who introduced Elvis to RCA Records, and she is the one who got Elvis hooked up with the Colonel Parker there. So she's really a happening babe. So let's hear it for Hoyt's mom. Ooh, she's amazing. All right. In Oklahoma, besides Hoyt, there's a lot of fucking shit going on there when you start digging into it. Charlie Christian, the great jazz guitar player, the bassist, the guy that invented the electric guitar solo practically. He's from Oklahoma. Leon Russell, just for example. A lot of back and forth Texas. Bob Wills, of course, from Texas, but really made it big in Oklahoma City. He moved up there. Roger Miller kind of lived in Oklahoma for years. Love Roger Miller. Yeah, we should do a whole Roger Miller show. That'd be great. Um, anyway, yeah, other cool dudes. J.J. Cale. All right, the Tulsa Sound. J.J. Cale. I mean, there is a revolutionary guy who kind of took, kind of a folk approach to music a little bit and then amped it up. I believe he was the first guy to use. They claim he was one of the first guys to use electric drums on his first album, Naturally. And when we say electric drums, we mean like this little beatbox thing that would just go. But yeah, there you go, J.J. Cale. And digging into this a little more, it turns out there's a whole scene in Oklahoma, a whole music genre, which is centered around a little town called Stillwater that they call red dirt music. I was not really up on the red dirt music, but you start digging in there, and yeah, there's a whole bunch of guys that kind of do this music that it's hard to nail down exactly what it is. It has a country feel sometimes, and other times it's a little more Cajun or Tex-Mex or even like metal or heavy rock. And so these guys, I don't know. I'll give you a couple names. You should check it out. This Steve Ripley, Jimmy LaFave, Bob Childers, the Red Dirt Rangers. I like the Cross Canadian Ragweed. You're getting excited, I know, because you're thinking, oh, wow, a Canadian connection here. No, the guy who is the singer of Cross Canadian Ragweed, his last name is Canada, and it's spelled like Canada. So I don't know where that comes from. I don't even understand that. But they're cool. I'll give you a little link there. You should check out some Cross Canadian Ragweed. They're like a cool example of red dirt music. When they talk about red dirt music, they always say, well, it's more of a feeling than actually a style, which I totally get. Coming from the punk rock world in the 70s, if somebody said, define punk rock to us, you might think, oh, well, it's the Ramones, but then the Clash are a little different, and then there's Devo, and they're completely different, and what about the Talking Heads, and what about Suicide, and what about Wire? Susie and the Banshees, that's a little different yet still. And then you finally say, well, I can't exactly tell you what it is, but I can tell you what it isn't, maybe. And then you'd play him an Eagles song. It's not that, okay? It's not Pink Floyd. So that's interesting because, they've just said, okay, we can play whatever we want. We're going to call it red dirt music. If you don't like it, fuck you. So I like that. I like that attitude. Anyway, yeah. Apart from the red dirt music, I'd have to say there's one fella that we've been skirting the issue a little bit because he's too big to talk about. But I think maybe it's time to talk about Woodrow Wilson Guthrie. Woody Guthrie. Maybe we should get our three intrepid voyageurs to hop in their little canoe. Maybe we'll just take a little trip down to the Dust Bowl, talk a little about Woody, then maybe I'll do a song for you. In fact, I will do a song for you. All right. See you then. All right. If we're going to talk about Woody, we got to go outside. We got to go out to the shed, man. So Woody's too big. Woody's too big to talk about. He encompasses worlds, Woody. Born in Oklahoma, had a bit of tragedy in his early life. Lost his sister prematurely. His family went bankrupt, and he Basically, they had to fend for themselves, all these kids. He escaped the Dust Bowl. The Dust Bowl, like one of the greatest man-made environmental catastrophes in the last 100 years. So he had to escape, basically, and so he rode the rails, he hitchhiked, he did all that hobo stuff. He always had music. He was always playing music. He said, in his hometown, it was everybody had a song. Everybody was always doing something with a guitar or a fiddle or something. So he was brought up in that tradition. He ended up in Los Angeles, where he became a DJ, and was playing the Okie music for all the refugees. And I'll tell you, the Okies were not really welcome in California. They were basically illegal aliens as far as the Californians were concerned at that time. They didn't want to see those Okies hanging around there. So he was playing that hillbilly music for the Okies and for other people, of course. He became a writer. Wrote for a bunch of different papers. Pretty early on, he was a lefty. He wrote for the communist newspapers, and he worked for union causes, and he was all for improving the lot of the common man. He eventually ended up in New York, where he ran into, lo and behold, Alan Lomax, who keeps turning up in our story, and of course Alan Lomax recorded a bunch of his stuff, and Woody's just playing anywhere, anytime he can. He becomes good friends with a lot of the blues guys. Sonny Terry and Brownie McGhee became very close friends with Leadbelly. Apparently him and Leadbelly would busk up in Harlem. Can you imagine? Would that be the coolest busking you've ever seen in your frickin' life? There's Woody Guthrie and Leadbelly busking in Harlem. Wow, that would be so great. Anyway, so he's writing, he's recording like mad. He is a great writer of protest songs and union songs, songs to make you feel better about yourself. He had no time for songs that made you oh, woe is me kind of songs. He just, screw that. He's not interested. He's interested in doing songs that empower people. To him, a song is almost a weapon. He famously always had the "This Machine Kills Fascists" painted on his guitar, which is powerful statement. And you can see him, he's all pugnacious in a lot of those photos, and he meant it. It was no joke. It wasn't just paint. It was for real. You'd have to say no Woody, no New York folk scene, or at least it wouldn't be the same, because he had just had such a range of recording. He had all his original protest songs, and plus he had this encyclopedic knowledge of all the traditional American songs from the West through, and he was just authentic, which the New York dudes just loved. Woody actually did ride the rails. Woody did hitchhike. Woody starved. Woody had hard times. He was going down that road feeling bad, man. He lived it. So Bob Dylan worshipped Woody. Dave Van Ronk, all those guys. Woody succumbed to Huntington's disease. So he was, by the mid-50s, the 60s, he was kind of in bad shape, but he was still around, and people would once in a while go visit him and, go to make the pilgrimage, because that's what it was. So, Woody Guthrie, I mean, there's too much to say. Okay, I'm going to play a song, okay? I'm going to play a traditional song of uncertain origin that Woody did. Many people did it. People did it before Woody. He didn't write it. But it's a little bit associated with him. A lot of other people did it too. You know, the Dead did it. Jerry Garcia did it. Jerry turns up in our story a lot. You know, I got it. I hear. I'll make a confession here. You know, when we were talking about the red dirt music and the punk, you know, when I was a punk, if it was, you know, if I wanted to describe what we were not, I could point to the Dead. Like, we're definitely not that. But I gotta hand it to Jerry Garcia. He keeps turning up, and he's always got the right approach, and he's always doing the right songs. So, Jerry Garcia, I tip my hat to you. Now we're gonna do this song, "Going Down the Road Feeling Bad." All right. Hope you have a good one. Everybody keep out of trouble, keep out of jail. Cause a little shit, but not too much. Okay? We'll see you next week. All right, here we go. Feeling bad. I'm going down that road feeling bad. Going down that road feeling bad, oh boys, and I ain't gonna be treated this way. I'm going where the climate suits my clothes. I'm going where the climate suits my clothes. I'm going where the climate suits my clothes, and I ain't gonna be treated this way. Tastes like wine. Going where the water tastes like wine. I'm going where the water tastes like wine, oh boy, and I ain't gonna be treated this way. Them $2 shoes hurt my feet. Them $2 shoes hurt my feet. $2 shoes hurt my feet, and I ain't gonna be treated